Thank you very much, and thanks for the plug. We still have another $1 million to raise for our new building, so I'll be in the back of the room tonight with my hat. Fritz and Mitch, there are two of them, so there are two of us introducing them. My high school experience was different than Peter's and John's. I think the only person who didn't know I was gay was me. And apparently my mouth was so sharp, nobody dare confront me with it. But when I came out in the 70s, my family and friends were sad because in those days it appeared that gay couples, the relationships didn't last. Promiscuity was part of it, and you'd die alone. At the same time, 39 years ago, Fritz and Mitch met. I don't think it was courage, it was love. The example they have set over the years is remarkable. Here's a couple that remain very independent, but yet fiercely loyal to each other. At the same time, there's a gentleness and a sharing of spirit in both of them. And as much as Fritz is a little shy of public displays of affection, there's a tenderness and gentleness that's very apparent in who they are. This, more than anything else, in this first wave of marriage, as couples who have been committed for decades finally get married, doesn't mean they haven't had this relationship. And this relationship serves an example to straight and gay couples what love really means. They certainly have lived out loud.
Well, thank you very much, Michael. It's an honor to be on stage with you and with so many friends here at Live Out Loud. Let me just say, because I was ungraciously not here when you bestowed your award on me, thank you to this organization. I have a very good excuse. I had this idea to run for Congress, and it overtook the 20th anniversary to my then partner, now husband, Randy Florkey, who's here tonight, right there. And I had promised him that we would celebrate that anniversary. Turned out it was a year late, but we did, and it conflicted with this event. And Leo was so wonderful that he let our 3 children appear here and accept it on our behalf. So, and they were here with Joan Rivers, which they're still talking about. And so, thank you so much for that. And on behalf of me and Randy and our kids, we're very honored by that. And forgive me. And what kind of member of Congress would I be if I didn't start talking about myself when I'm supposed to be talking about Mitch and Fritz? I just want to say this about my friends Mitch and Fritz. You know, there's a lot of people who do a lot of stuff. And when you're in my business, you bump into a lot of people who do a lot of stuff. But I don't know anybody who does so much, so consistently for kids, for young people who are figuring out who they are. What they are, where their place is. And for you trailblazers, first of all, you're my heroes. You guys were awesome, all 5 of you. Great job. I want you to know that even when you get elected to the United States Congress, even when you're the first openly gay person ever elected to Congress from the state of New York, like I am, that you don't do that without people like Mitch and Fritz who believe in you, who see in you something that maybe you're afraid to see yourself. And when so much of the world is telling you you don't count, and you don't matter, and you don't have a place in this country, or in your family, or in your school, it means a lot when there's somebody like Mitch and Fritz who look at you and think what you always hoped to think about yourself when you looked in the mirror. Maybe I can be that person. Maybe I'm not broken. Maybe there's something I can do. Maybe I have a place after all in the sun. And when you find that kind of mentorship, whether it's through the new leadership council that they support, or Live Out Loud, or the Point Foundation, or there's so many other organizations that they support, when you find that, it's like a drop of water to a man in the desert. And you will travel a great distance to be in its presence. And so I was so honored to have the opportunity to acknowledge their service tonight, what they've done for me, what they've done for so many. Because of their efforts, because of their commitment to this work, we can look to a future where we don't just stop getting hurt. We don't just stop thinking we're broken, but we start leading. We start communicating what this country can be. we start making our contribution, which is very powerful, which is not ultimately about LGBTQ people. It's about America. It's about humanity. It's about what happens when people believe they can do anything, and they count, and they matter, and you're not broken, and you've got a place, and maybe you can help somebody. Maybe you can do something too. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is our gift to America. And we are killing it as a community, make no mistake. We are killing it from Maine to California and from Washington to Florida, in the courts, in the legislatures, in the hearts of our fellow citizens, in the business community, in communities of faith, and everywhere in between. And that's a good thing. But And we are getting ready to celebrate another historic milestone very soon. And I remember the last one when I called Randy to tell him about the Supreme Court decision, and after 21 or 2 years together, I couldn't get the words out. Because for the first time, I felt like maybe my own country wouldn't view me as something less than everybody else. But people like Mitch and Fritz have been there day in and day out, decade after decade, believing in people like me who are coming along behind them. In my case, just a couple years. And in the case of these kids tonight, a few years later. But they believe in the future. And they have been a critical part of building it. And I am so touched and honored to be a small part of their world and to be able to stand here tonight with all of you and to acknowledge their extraordinary contributions to our community. Please join Michael and I in welcoming to the stage two extraordinary individuals, Mitch and Fritz.
We flipped a coin and I lost. So I'm the guy who gave the thing. Well, thank you, Sean. Thank you, Michael. All these compliments, it's kind of overwhelming. There's something obvious to me that you both have been talking to our mothers recently. I want to thank you, obviously, Live Out Loud. What a nice name, Live Out Loud. And I even like the acronym more, LOL. Lots of love, lots of laughs. I think it's terrific. But thank you to its executive director, Leo, and Mitch and I are very honored to be the recipient of this year's Humanitarian Award. It goes straight to our hearts. Live Out Loud occupies a special place with us. It's an organization whose goal and mission resonate with Mitch and me. We all strive to live in a world where bigotry, prejudice, and sometimes violence against LGBT people should and must not prevail, particularly when it comes to some of the more vulnerable elements of our community, the young people. Live Out Loud, let's call it LOL. I love LOL. LOL's mission is so important because it helps LGBT kids deal with the challenges that face them in their everyday life and help them realize one simple little truth. It's okay to be gay. You're no freak, you're no pervert, you're just someone like everybody else, and certainly not worse because you're gay. And this is particularly relevant when it comes to the world of the schools. And let's face it, school can be more often than we would like an intolerant and vicious environment where being gay can lead to exclusion, bullying, a sense of worthlessness that in extreme cases can lead to suicide. And I cannot think of something more tragic in life, in this world, than a young person taking his or her own life. In this respect, Live Out Loud Homecoming program plays a very powerful role. By bringing successful young gay adults back to their own school to tell their story, they help young LGBT kids realize that there is a whole world outside the school where they can thrive, irrespective of their sexual orientation. And because of the dedication and vision of an organization like LOL, because of the courage and determination of people like Sean Maloney, Michael Sennott, my husband Mitch, whom I'm so proud of, and all of you here, we're all making a difference in the life of so many young people who are our future. And for this and all what Live Out Loud does, Mitch and I thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
Wait a minute.
I would just like to point out, in the spirit of Live Out Loud, in terms of role models and inspiration for the young and the rest of us who are not so young, we have 4 distinguished elected officials in this room. There might be more, but I only know of 4. Sean, you've already met, who has really distinguished himself in Congress, not just with the Democrats. Corey Johnson is an LGBT member of the City Council who's here. Richie Torres, who's the youngest member of the council, he's LGBT, and Jimmy Van Brenner, who's not the youngest, but he's one of the more distinguished member of the council. So I just like to mention them.